Nicole?
We're on live. We're a little bit early, but that's okay. We can just kind of get started a little bit early.
I'm okay if we're early or not. That gives me more time to share about these incredible hosted vacations. But we'll wait a few more minutes. Nicole, I'll tell everybody this in a while, but for anybody listening, gosh, Mimi and I just got back from our Colorado vacation. I mean, you know that, Nicole. But I'll tell you, the one thing we didn't realize is how much we needed a vacation, how all this negativity had created so much, I don't know, I guess you'd probably call it stress. But we get out there, and it was not 2 days that we were 60 to 80% relaxed. And oh gosh, it was just fabulous. So taught me again how important it is to get away, and go on a vacation. And that's the reason why you do, to relax, to let your mind get off whatever it is that, you're worried about here. And there's an awful lot to worry about right now, no question about it. So it really made me realize how important vacations are. And I always have known that, but gosh, when it's when it's you that experiences that relaxed feeling, it's a wonderful thing. In fact, I'll tell you what, my wife Mimi, I don't think I've seen her that relaxed literally since March, when this thing started.
Oh, I was on mute. No, definitely watching your pictures on Facebook. It was so great to see you guys out in the mountains and just out in the nature, and you could tell everybody just had a different calm about them. It looked wonderful.
Yeah, it really was, and that's the whole purpose of any vacation, is to give you a chance to relax and catch your breath and see some different things, do some different things, maybe catch up on whatever it might be, sleep, time together, time apart, whatever it might be. And gosh, we went to some places that we hadn't been before. And Ouray, Colorado, you probably saw those pictures on our Cruise Holidays Kansas City Facebook page, and on our personal Facebook page, we shared those. And they call it the Switzerland of America. And it's really kind of cool, because being to Switzerland before, several times, you could really understand how fabulous that Ouray, Colorado area was. And then we came back through Crested Butte. All the years I've been to Colorado to snow ski or vacation in the summer, I've never been to Crested Butte. And unbeknownst to me, that's one of the things my son Spencer, who works for Vail Resorts and lives up in Denver, Colorado, said if he had a choice to live anywhere in Colorado right now, he'd live in Crested Butte. And I'm thinking, why? Till I got there, and then I see why. It's kind of like, yeah, it's just such a beautiful area. That whole area is out there.
Yeah, and people can check out all of those photos on Facebook on Comfort Condo. So Comfort Condo has its own Facebook page. So if you want to check out those photos, they have a Facebook and an Instagram page if you just search Comfort Condo.
Yeah, we're just killing some time before we start on hosted groups, but I think a lot of people probably don't realize that Mimi and I have a place that we own in Copper Mountain, Colorado, in between Breckenridge and Keystone and Frisco and Vail, right there on Interstate 70. And we just love that place, the Comfort Condo, and we do rent that out. In fact, Lori, Nicole's our organizer tonight, works for us in the graphic arts department and handles all the behind the scenes here on these webinars. But Nicole, did you see Lori's pictures? And she said her family just had a fabulous time.
I sure did. They look like they're just having a blast out there.
Well, what do you think? It's 6. Shall we get this started?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Nicole, when I'm ready to go to the next slide, I'll just say next to you since you're handling that, okay?
Sounds great.
Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. And for those of you who have just got on, I was just talking to Nicole Busenbark, who's handling the behind-the-scenes part of this. And we were just talking about, Mimi and I were just in Colorado for 12 days. We own a place up at Copper Mountain. We call it the Comfort Condo. And but we took a little extra time to go to some places in Colorado that we've never been to. But more importantly than that was, I'll tell you what, honest to goodness, I've had 3 trips canceled since the start of this COVID thing that I had groups, many of you maybe that are on right now were part of the group that got canceled, and I feel so bad about that. And the reality is we got to Colorado, and I don't think Mimi and I, either one of us, knew how all this negativity had affected us mentally. And it maybe was 2 or 3 days that we were just 2 totally different people, where our minds were refreshed and our thoughts were on nature and hiking and seeing some of the new places in Colorado and all the things that a vacation does, which are positive. And with all this negativity, my gosh, many of you are just like Mimi and I. You don't realize how all the negativity affects you. You know, just like yesterday when Patrick Mahomes signed that $500 million contract. Honest to goodness, my nephew Boyd Comfort emailed me or texted me and said, "Hey, Mark, do you realize that your son and my sons will have Patrick Mahomes as their quarterback until they go to college?" And I thought, that's pretty cool. I guess I should say my grandson. That's pretty cool. So anyway, vacations are really, really, really so important for all of us. And you all know that. The reason why I wanted to do these hosted vacations tonight on this webinar is really to give you all a little oversight as to the fact and all the things that we're going to do. We believe that when this thing opens up and people feel comfortable going again internationally or even here domestically, that hosted groups sometimes are going to be the most appealing to people. Number one, they have an expert and a host with them to take care of anything that could go wrong, or if somebody, gets sick, God forbid, or whatever the situation, there's a medical issue. We know how to handle those situations. But maybe more importantly than that is that most of the people that go on these hosted groups with us, they're from the Midwest, and that's a good thing. When people are from a local area around the Midwest, we're just different people. We're nicer people. I think we're I don't know, we're fun to travel with, and right now it's kind of, you know what I'm saying, it might be better than being with a group of people that are from Texas or Arizona, New York, wherever it might be at this point in time. I think that'll change. It always changes. But the reality is I've done these hosted groups for years, and it's so much fun to share memories that last a lifetime together. And the other thing that I enjoy personally just a lot is to watch the chemistry of people's personalities work. And some lifetime friendships are made. Through these hosted trips. So anyway, the other reason, and I think maybe this might be really a benefit that most people don't think about. Next year, 2021, almost all of the vendors that we deal with, whether they're ocean cruises, river cruises, or all-inclusive resorts, are looking for a record year in sales. And that's because there's going to be so many people from this year that have these future vacation credits that will be using them in 2021. Tell you the other thing about that. Many of the cruise lines have made their decisions on what they're going to do with maximum capacity by design, and we're hearing different things. 75% is the number I'm hearing a lot from river cruise companies, maximum capacity. So think about this. If 30% of a river cruise that has 100 people on it or 150 people on it, 30% of that ship is taken up by people with future vacation credits, and they only have 75% maximum capacity. That leaves 45% of that ship to sell. So what do you think happens? All these ocean cruise lines, all these river cruise lines, all these all-inclusive resorts, all the airplanes, everybody, hotels, everybody wants to regain the profits that they did not make in 2020. So they're going to raise prices. It's the law of supply and demand, and you're going to see that happening. We are already see it happening a lot, which is why we thought it was important to have this event tonight. So let's go on. Nicole, let's start, do this chronologically, and let's talk a little bit about all these groups. And let me finish my train of thought. I didn't finish my train of thought. The best thing about these hosted groups is we have blocked group space that we are guaranteeing people the 2020 pricing for 2021. And you all, that could be huge. We'll show you a little later in one of our examples. There's over $1,000 a person difference in what our group rates are on this hosted trip than what the going rate is right now. So let's start from the chronologically. We have 9 different hosted vacations. I'm going to buzz through these as quick as I can with still giving you enough information that you are comfortable with the information you're getting. But if you want more, there will be, you can call our counselors, our travel counselors, tomorrow, 816-505-1500, or go on our website, cruiseholidayskc.com. Go to our group page, and you'll see all these hosted groups, and there'll be more details. So the first group we have, and I just pray this one goes, I am so ready after several of these cancellations of groups we've had. October 1st through the 8th, the Taste of Bordeaux, which is in the western and northwestern part of France. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful area of France. And most of you probably know it from its wine. Some of the best red wines in the world, I guess arguably, are made in the area of Bordeaux. But this is also the area of chateaus and things like that. Nicole, go to the next slide and let's show people a little bit about this itinerary. You see some of the itinerary is right there in the middle. Most all of us will be flying into Paris, flying or taking a train from Paris to Bordeaux. And that I think is going to be good. We have a pre-package in Spain, and I'm hoping to see if that will go. By the way, just an offset, one of the things I'm hearing from AMA Waterways, and this cruise is on AMA Waterways, and all of the cruise lines are telling me this, that when it comes to Europe, there'll be a better chance of these vacations that are in one country going than if there is a vacation that goes to 3, 4, or even 5 different countries. So with that said, this one is all in one country, France, of course, beautiful part of France. And it's a river cruise on the AMA Waterways, AMA Dolce, and that's a small cruise because this is one of the narrowest, smallest rivers that any river cruises go on. So this is a little over 100 people, and we've got 63 people on this right now. Nicole, let's go to the next page, and we'll see that. We'll get people all excited about the next page here. Okay, there's these old towns. As you may or may not know, France is the #1 most traveled to country in the world for vacations in the world by all the people in the world, not just Americans. But this part of France, like a lot of areas of France, is just very old and very historic and very, very scenic. And say in Emillion, France, you know, there's a lot of places that you go in the world that you don't know anything about. This is a place I don't know anything about that I can't wait to go to. But I promise you this, AMA Waterways has it on their itinerary. It's going to be worth seeing. Okay, next picture. Okay, also this is the area of chateaus. And by the way, one of the pre-packages or post-packages we have right after the cruise, or you could do it before, is into the chateau region of called the Loire Valley, just south of where we are here in Bordeaux. So this is a lot of these wineries like this are in these big old fabulous chateaus that are 400, 500, 600 years old. I think that's going to be great. And every day you'll have choices of going to tours that are included. They're not an extra cost. And if you're into wine, this is great. This will be like nirvana for you. If you're not into wine, it won't matter. You can do the scenic tours. You can do the history tours or the combination of the two. But there will be a lot of wine tasting opportunities in the fact that this is such a great wine area. Okay, Nicole, next picture. Look at this. On the right is a stairwell at one of the vineyards. I want you to look real closely at that picture. Every square inch of the walls going down that stairwell has bottles, cases of wine in it. And that's the one thing I've really, really enjoyed, how unique and special some of these old, fabulous wineries are. And the wine tasting that we'll get to do will be guaranteed, will be fun. And many of you who don't know each other on this group will know each other very well when you get back, because there's one thing about wine, it loosens everybody up and everybody can become good friends real quick. Okay, next, that bottle of wine, I think I'm ready for one after this. Let's go ahead, Nicole. Okay, we'll move on. And by the way, on all of these, I'm going to move right through these, but on all of these, if you want to find out more, again, just go to our Cruise Holidays of Kansas City Facebook page and more details, pricing, things like that. And Lynette Talge is our group coordinator. She can help you, or any one of our travel counselors can. But I'm real excited about this because, the one thing about this COVID thing, it did get me starting to look at different itineraries and things within the United States, because everything we've heard is the first thing people are going to be doing will be doing domestic travel, just like what Mimi and I just did for 12 days out in Copper Mountain, Colorado. Well, all of Colorado, we went through a lot of the different parts of Colorado that we've never been to, but more and more of that's going to happen. So for those people that like the pampering, luxury, spoiling experience of small river cruising, the American Cruise Lines has a phenomenal product. I guess I knew they had the product, but in my mind, probably like you, I thought about the old paddle wheelers going up and down the Mississippi. But I want you to look at this ship right here. State of the art. This ship is coming out literally in August, next month, and it's on schedule. And I'm going to host a group on the lower Mississippi, November 13th through the 20th. So for those of you that would rather drive than fly, maybe you might want to consider this, because even though it starts in Memphis and ends in New Orleans, they'll have transportation back from New Orleans to Memphis if you want to leave your car there. But I want you to look at that ship. Well, you talk about state of the art. That's beautiful. And here's the itinerary. Starts again in Memphis, and we'll have a pre-night that is included in this package. And then we'll be offering optional a 2-night package that goes to Graceland, where you all know Elvis's place is. They have I can't remember, it's either a cocktail party or dinner or something like that in the Jungle Room there at Graceland. I think that'd be pretty cool. So we go down through these places like Vicksburg, and you're going to see this in a minute, that is known for its Civil War history, and Natchez and St. Francisville, Baton Rouge, Oak Galley. We'll see the antebellum plantations and learn so much about the history in that area. And by the way, the weather conditions are perfect at this time. It's literally in the low 70s is the average temperature. By the way, just a point of interest, see that Helena? That's where my mom was born. Isn't that something? I've never been to Helena, so we might get to see where Mom was born. Who knows? I know nobody will care about that but me. Okay, next picture. Okay, I want you to just, again, this is an inside picture because the ship is brand new, still in the shipyard being finished. It's, by the way, this is all American crew, all American. It's built in the United States of America, and so the prices are a little higher, about as high, I guess you'd say, as the European river cruises. Everything is included. It's totally all-inclusive, including gratuities and drinks and the pre-package there in Memphis. But I want you to just look at the ship. I think the ship just looks absolutely spectacular. And you know what? As a group, we can make our own fun. Although I hear the entertainment is really, really good. I've not been on one of the American cruise lines. This is their, I think it's their 12th ship that they are bringing out. All staterooms have balconies. That's a pretty nice one right there. And they do tell me that this is their flagship. This is going to be their one that they hang their hat on as their pride and joy. So I think it sure ought to spoil us. Been around the Missouri and Mississippi River all my life, and I've never really cruised up and down it at all. So it'll be interesting. So the antebellum homes that you see here with the old trees and I don't know, I bet you will find, as opposed to being in Europe where we learn about ancient history or history 800, 600, 1200, 2000 years ago, now we're going to learn about things that have happened in the last 244 to 300 years in this country. I frankly look forward to that. Okay, next picture. Guess we get to see this one for a while. There we go. I've been learning a little bit about the Civil War history, and in Vicksburg they call this the Gettysburg of the South. I think it was being fought very similar to the same time Gettysburg was being the battle of Gettysburg was going on. And you all have probably heard the Civil War stories of brothers fighting against brothers. This is one of the places that happened also quite a bit. And the North viewed Vicksburg as the way to literally strangle and cut off the South, the Confederates. So you're going to learn all about this. It's called Project Anaconda. And obviously in any of the big battles like that, there were a lot of people killed. And they have a cemetery. Many of you have been with me to Normandy or the American cemeteries in Europe. Italy is another good example, Luxembourg. And the American cemeteries where they now honor the people who died there it's really a touching thing. And so that's part of this trip. Remember, all tours are included in this cruise too. So it's about 99% all inclusive. Okay, Nicole, next picture. Okay, we'll switch gears now and going back to Europe again. Our own Andrea Redding, who's been with us 27 years, is hosting this Douro River cruise in Portugal. And I did this, Mimi and I did this about 3 or 4 years ago, and we absolutely loved it. And I think the reason I can tell you this, I don't know if I've ever had a trip that exceeded my expectations more than this one. And why? Probably because I didn't know what to expect with Portugal, and I bet most of you are like that too. And then everybody is thinking about weather conditions here in the Midwest, October 31st through November 7th. Is that going to be a little late in the season? Actually, not at all. Weather conditions are fabulous there because it's so far south. And again, average weather that time of the year is in the mid-70s. So I think you'll find it to be spectacular. One of the other things I think that we will see, and we're watching it all the time with these groups, is the airlines are really anxious to get going again on international travel. So they're doing there's some pretty doggone good prices that we're seeing already. So again, this trip is we've got 2 ways to do it. We can fly you into Lisbon and get you up to Porto. You see that right there on top of the country with the 2 stars. And that's the Douro River, one of the shortest rivers, but it's just fascinating how much history there is in Portugal. And also, like in Bordeaux, wine is a big deal. And as you would probably guess, with the country's name Portugal, that port wine is a huge deal there. So you'll be very impressed with that. I strongly recommend it. If you don't do that with Andrea this year, please, if you're a river cruise person, put Portugal on your list. And I definitely would go to Lisbon early for 2-3 days minimum. We've got that prepackaged set for you there. So I loved Portugal, and I took probably the most well-traveled group of people I've ever had with me. And I think there was basically close to 100% satisfaction with that entire experience. And this will be on a brand new ship by AMA Waterways, the Amaduro. And I think that is, that's always a positive thing. Okay, Nicole, next picture.
I think you've got a little lag on your computer there, Mark.
Okay, good, thanks. A lot of places in Portugal like Lamego that you've never heard of. This is a pilgrimage site, and going down. You probably can't see that, but right behind that big obelisk right there in front of us is 752 steps, granite steps. And a lot of people do the pilgrimage walk up on their knees there. So all of this, I don't want to tell you everything about it, but every place you go to places you've never heard of, there's so much history. And so Portugal's a neat country. And their gross national product is, oh, Lord almighty, I think so much of it, 70 some odd percent, is centered around wine production. So you'll see some incredible wineries too if you like wine. Hopefully we'll get to go to Salamanca, Spain. That's the oldest university in Spain and one of the oldest universities in all of Europe. And there's just a special feel to that area, and it's just not very far from the far east side of Portugal to Salamanca. And that was one of the highlights of the trip through. That's such a spectacular city with a couple of, as you can see there, everywhere you go, you're going to see some incredible cathedrals and ruins of castles and gigantic buildings. One of the things I remember more than anything is the Matus chateau. It was, you probably remember the Matus wine, and those green kind of circular bottles. They were, oh my gosh, that chateau was fabulous. Okay, next. I love this. Look at this. I picked this picture to show you because not only about the vineyards, but the Douro River goes in between scenery like this with two valleys of almost all terraced vineyards on the mountainsides the entire way from Porto to Salamanca. It is really, honestly, it's breathtaking, beautiful. I think, again, those of you that go on it, I am relatively positive you will have the time of your life. It's a beautiful, spectacular experience, and it will exceed your expectations. Okay, next. Okay, we'll move right on, and now we get into the first hosted group of 2021, and this will be in mid-February, February 20th through March 3rd. I had a chance in 2006 to do a Nile River cruise, and remembering that I love ancient history. I have told everybody who will listen to me as many times as I can that there is no more incredible old history anywhere in the world than there is in Egypt. And what a lot of people think of when you think of Egypt is you think of Cairo. And Cairo is not what is the best part of Egypt. Yes, the pyramids of Giza are there, the Sphinx is there, and that's a must-see. Two of the best museums in the world are there, and many, many other things that you must see are in Egypt. So we'll spend 2 nights before the 7-day river cruise, which, by the way, is on the brand new SS Sphinx. I love that name. Mimi laughs every time I say that. I think it's a great name for a Nile River cruise in Egypt. Okay, so next picture. We'll be over there February and March. And by the way, again, the time I was over there was September. It was 112 degrees average almost every day. In February and March, the average temperature is in the mid-70s. So it is the best, trust me on this, it's the best time to go. Now, if you look at this, and all of this is included, we will fly to Luxor, and the red dots you see, if you can see that, those are the stops that we make basically every day on the river cruise, and we will be going in luxury. This ship is absolutely spectacular, and it is absolutely all inclusive. Everything is included. Everything. Tours. There's one tour that is not, and I'll tell you about that. And I will also tell you that you absolutely must spend your kids' inheritance and go to Abu Simbel, and we'll show you this in a minute. So we fly from Cairo down to Luxor. We do the 7-night river cruise, and then we will fly back to Cairo. We'll start with 2 nights in Cairo, and we'll end with 2 nights in Cairo. And you need that much time to see all the fabulous sights in Cairo. And then while you have that map there, if you look at Amman, Jordan, over to the right, we will be doing a 5-night pre-package that's all land in Amman. And the biggest reason there, it started out, the biggest reason, at least to me, was I wanted to see Petra. You probably remember Petra from Raiders of the Lost Ark, when Harrison Ford went riding in on his horses between those incredible mountains that were carved out into these ruins in the very back. It's one of the 7 man-made wonders of the world, and I, like everybody else, I think we'll be so excited to see that. Let me talk to you. If you're interested in the Nile, call our office and ask for me to call you back, since I know this so well and I put the Jordan part together. But the other thing I want to tell you about, there's one night we're going to stay. And by the way, our dollar is so strong over there that we're going to stay in the St. Regis Hotel in Amman for 3 nights out of the 5. But one of the nights we're going to be out, when we're out at Petra, we're going to be staying in these, well, it's not like your normal Boy Scout camps. They are as luxury camps as you will ever see. And I will tell you all about that, because everybody first says, oh my gosh, tented camps? And then they look at them and they go, oh, that's going to be fabulous. Okay, so this one, are you ready for this? This ship, the SS Sphinx, is 41 cabins. They're all suites. And we have all but 6 of them sold. So this whole ship will be basically our ship with our group. Okay, I think that's just so exciting. And we'll help you with air. By the way, this is an example right here. The air to Cairo from the United States has gone down $1,000 since we were looking at it at the first of the year. It's in the anywhere from $1,800 to $2,200 range, and I'm talking about economy. And it was in the mid 3s to low 3s earlier on. So there's some fabulous deals. I had a client tell me they found economy for $1,495 on that. Okay, there's the Sphinx and the pyramids in the background. And the one thing that I found fascinating is why is all this ancient history that's sometimes 4,000 and 5,000 years old, why are so many of these ruins still in Egypt, where in other countries they're not? There was civilization for 4,000 years ago, but what happens is the climate is so perfect for ruins to not deteriorate. The Sphinx, rumor has it, I'm going to ask when I'm there, rumor has it, why it lost its nose is the Germans, Rommel's troops they drink at night and then they shot the nose off him. I wonder if that's true. We'll find out. You see all the pyramids? You know, you hear about them just up in Giza or Cairo. And Giza is a suburb of Cairo, and that's where the Great Pyramids are. But there's pyramids all over. There's pyramids all over. And you have to remember, there's a lot of places. We'll go to the Valley of the Kings. And next slide, Nicole. And there was a time the Egyptian pharaohs ruled the world for over 2,000 years. And so there's so much history there. This is in the valley of, believe it or not, this is the Valley of the Queens. Have you ever heard of this? Hatshepsut was the first queen pharaoh or female pharaoh in Egypt, and this is her burial site. Now, on the other side of this mountain range is the Valley of the Kings, and at that time, the pharaohs didn't want people to know where they were buried because there was so much riches buried with them. And so you're going to see all of this when we're there. And here's a good aerial picture of Luxor. And please remember, Luxor was the capital of the world for over 2,000 years, if you'll think about that. And so that's why they had so much wealth, and they had so many slaves from conquered lands that they could build all these fabulous monuments to themselves. So, and next slide. Oh, look at this great picture. Look at the greenery. A half a mile or so, give or take, on both sides of the Nile River is green as can be. And then on either side of the greenery is what you see on the left here. Just barren, sandy deserty land. It might not have been that way for 5,000 years ago, but it is now. Talk about the river of life. Go ahead, Nicole. Okay, again, like Portugal or Bordeaux, you're going to run into some places like Comombo that you've never heard of before. And when you see these monuments, even what's left of them, and in many cases, the coloring is still on there. It's just mind-boggling. And I want you to know something that over the past many decades, Americans have been fewer Americans go to Egypt and do these Nile River cruises than any other country in the world. And one of the reasons why, and by the way, the French and the Germans are the two countries that go there the most, but almost all the big leaders of the world, like Napoleon, he believed that to have the biggest and the best empire in the world, you had to control Egypt, and because they admired the pharaohs and what the pharaohs were able to do back so many years ago. So places like this, and you're going to see there'll be a lot of French groups and a lot of German groups there, but now groups from all over the world go there too. Hey, offset on this, almost a huge amount, 80%, 78 to 80%, I think I've read over the years of Egypt's gross national product is from tourism. And do you know this country has been losing on average of $1 billion per month in lost tourism? And that's a tough thing. And so these tour guides and the places where we go to shop, they don't care if we are Americans or Australians or Russians. They're just glad we're there, spending money and helping them feed their families. Okay, next picture. I think the next picture is Edfu, if I remember. Nope, Abu Simbel is even better. Oh, you guys, again, I get so excited when I see this. And I want you to look at the lady in front of the entrance there to give you an idea, a scope of the size of these ruins. And this is the one tour that is a charge because they fly us from Aswan to Abu Simbel. I did that when I was there, and honest to goodness, I've said this to everybody, that's the most impressive ruins I've ever seen anywhere in the world. You know, whether it's the Colosseum or Ephesus. Ephesus has always been my favorite, but this supersedes Ephesus is my number one ruins in the world, and I bet it will too. And if you all remember Harrison Ford in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, do you remember when he went into that entrance into the ruins, and he went 3 rooms back, and then on that, I think it was spring solstice, when the sun came through, or summer solstice, whatever it was, and it was the lights went through his sepulcher. Oh my gosh, it was that's right where it was. That's what it was supposed to be. I've got more on that story I'll tell you later, but right now that's just a must see. Okay, next. Okay, there's Edfu. This is a place where the French go in record numbers. I'll tell you the reason why. There's Napoleon, or one of his troops, scratched his initials into one of the pillars there in Edfu. And so the French just seem like they have to see this. But if you look at the sculptures in the rock, you'll just be amazed. And you'll see that all over everywhere. How they were they were magicians with rock work. Okay, next picture. Guess I probably better hurry up. We've got a few more of these going on. Again, with this Egypt trip, we only have 6 cabins left on the brand new ship, the SS Sphinx. Switching gears to next spring, tulip time, when all those tulips all over Netherlands and Belgium are in bloom. This is a really, really special experience. We were able to negotiate a great rate on one of Avalon Waterway's newer ships. And by the way, there's only 150 people on this ship, 75 cabins. And both Kim North and Andrea Redding will be our host or hostesses on this trip. But it's one of the most beautiful areas. And a lot of people have never been to Belgium on a Rhine River cruise. So here is an opportunity to go to Belgium as well as the Netherlands and see the highlights of those two countries. Excuse me. You can go to the next one, Nicole. Oh, Avalon's the one that's got the beds that the windows, the bed faces out the windows. Okay, here is the itinerary that we'll be going to, starting in Amsterdam and ending in Brussels, Belgium. A beautiful itinerary. Kim has been there. I think this will be her third time, and she talked Andrea into going there. And this is just such a beautiful part of Europe, and the air is so good in and out of Amsterdam and Brussels. So if you're interested in tulips, at some of these gardens, like Keukenhoff's gardens, there's 7 million tulip bulbs. 7 million. And kind of like our Canada, New England, and fall, you try to time this right and get it. And if you do, it is absolutely breathtaking. But places like Ghent, Belgium, that I'd never heard of, and some of these other places, Rotterdam, Zaandam even, they're just places that are absolutely gorgeous. Amsterdam takes all the limelight in that part of the world. That's because it's got the big airport and it's such a unique city. But some of these other places you'll see here are spectacular experiences too. Okay, next. Oh, there's Ghent. Look at that. Isn't that waterfront so cool? And this is, you know, I've traveled to so many places over in Europe that have this kind of waterfront. You see all the tents back there with food and beer, especially in that part of the world, with chocolates and pretzels and things like that. Kim knows where all the great chocolate places are too. So being there before, she can tell you where to go. That's so much fun. The windmills are such a big part of that part of the world. And I think, you know, Mimi and I just drove across the state of Kansas and Colorado from Kansas City to Denver and up into the Rockies. And you see all those, you know, the windmills that we have out there, and just think this is how they all got started, something like this. And you get to take tours to see a working windmill while you're there if you so desire. And again, remember, with river cruises, all of the tours are included. And there'll be some that will be additional if you so want to do them. Again, great picture here, great picture of Amsterdam. And the canal system in Amsterdam is maybe second only to Venice, and I think that's even very arguable. I bet most everybody on this call has been to Amsterdam, and I bet you're smiling like me right now. It's just such a great city, and there's so much to do. And I guess you remember, be careful of the bike riders. And we will tell you all the things that you need to know and need to be careful of. We've got some, and that's a good time of the year to go, believe it or not. It's a little cooler, of course, but it's, you know, sometimes the smell of the water is a whole lot better in spring than it is in the middle of summer. So that, yeah, beautiful place, Amsterdam. Next.
It's trying. It keeps freezing. There it goes.
Yeah, I know. It's slower than me, Nicole. You're doing a great job. Technology, we have to live with it, right? Hey, the other thing that we decided to do, knowing almost all of these up to now have been on river cruises, because we believe that many people will feel more comfortable on smaller vessels, and the river cruise ships that we have are anywhere from 100 to 160 people maximum, so 50 to say 75, whatever it would be, cabins. But here's a different one, and it is because all of the Alaska season got canceled this year. And you just cannot imagine how many thousands upon thousands upon thousands of tens of thousands of customers that go to Alaska every year. And so we booked something immediately with Anna Tallman, who's always wanted to go there, on Holland America. Holland America is really great about having medium-sized ships as opposed to the gigantic big ones. And this is actually, over our 31 years in business, we have sold more people to go to Alaska around Memorial Day than any other time of the year. First of all, the pricing is better. Second of all, believe it or not, the whales, that's whale season up there. And third of all, it's a real good opportunity to see bear, because bear have come out of hibernation and they're looking for food. So whales and bear, this is a great time to go. Usually weather-wise, it's a great time to go. And of course, you can save money with going that year. That's called the shoulder season versus peak season. Okay, and if you look at this itinerary, the other beautiful thing about this is it's round trip out of Seattle. So the airfare is very reasonable from Kansas City to Seattle. And while you cruise up through the Inside Passage to Juneau and Glacier Bay, Icy Point Strait, Sitka, Ketchikan, going through the Inside Passage is special, but all of those ports of call, especially, Glacier Bay, oh my gosh, it's just absolutely spectacular. So you'll see glaciers like this. Hubbard Glacier is, I don't know if you know this, but Hubbard Glacier is the largest, longest, and I think one of the highest, and if I'm not mistaken, one of the fastest moving glaciers in all of Alaska, and you get to see it on this. It's close to 3 miles long. It doesn't look like it when you're coming in because your perception is all thrown off, but if you look at that face of that glacier there, that's about 250 to 300 feet above sea level and another 100 to 150 feet below of ice. And that ice moves that time of the year between 5 and 8 feet per day. So you'll hear and see the calving that will be going on. And oh my gosh, it's just, it's an experience. I've been there 16 times, and seeing the glaciers and seeing calving, there's nothing like it. And then Ketchikan, if you haven't been there before, this is a small little town that has a great combination of a little bit of gold rush history, a lot of lumberjack history, and a great deal of Tlingit Indian histories. This is where totem poles. It's one of the capitals of all of Alaska for totem poles, and it's fascinating. These totem poles tell stories of the tribes and their history and what's important to them. And then this area that you see right there is called Creek Street, which is a recreated area of old, 1800s Ketchikan with, the brothel, which is not a brothel anymore. It's a museum. The ladies of the night actually are outside simply trying to get you to donate to the museum, not to them. And it is kind of a fun place, and there's so much to do there in Ketchikan. It's fascinating, fascinating place. I think there's one road, and it's 22 miles long, and that's it. Okay. Next. Okay, then I'm doing, by the way, back to Alaska for a quick second. We're about 2/3 the way sold out on that already. So it's amazing the interest that we've had on Alaska. But Alaska is going to be real popular. So we'll also have some very, very good pricing on that Alaska. Now, this is one of the ones I had to reschedule this year to next year. And one of the most incredible experiences anybody will ever have is to go to Normandy, and we will be there literally 11 days after, I think it's the 76th anniversary of D-Day, which is a great time to be there. There'll still be a lot of things going on. And this trip starting in Paris, it's round trip with Normandy as the highlight there. Oh my gosh, there's just no doubt about it. It's I don't think I've ever felt more patriotic than when I was in Normandy on a D-Day. We were there on the 72nd anniversary of D-Day, and it was just amazing. Go ahead, Nicole, next slide. And by the way, you'll learn about where all the 5 of the beaches were. You'll learn all about the challenges that the Allies had getting in there. You know, if you watch Saving Private Ryan before you go on this, you'll have a much greater appreciation to how we at Omaha Beach ever took over the Germans. Okay, there's so much to see. It's round trip Paris, but all of those places there that we've been to are so spectacular. I mean, just so spectacular. Next picture too. Nicole, see that Giverny? That's Monet's, where you've probably heard of Monet's Gardens, and we'll get a chance to see that. There it is. And we'll, I mean, that place is absolutely spectacular. And you'll learn a lot about Monet. And the bridge there and the lily pads, as you probably know, pretty spectacular. Just a beautiful place. You can see why Monet was so inspired. And by the way, we'll go to one of the museums there in Paris. And if you're into Monet or other artists, they've got some world-class pictures from these world-class artists, as you can imagine. Okay, next picture. Honfleur. All these little places again. I just love going to places that I've never heard of and loving them. And Honfleur, France was one of those places when we went to that was just breathtaking. Little kind of village. It doesn't look little, but that's really most of the town right there. And it was just idyllic, absolutely idyllic. Okay, next picture. And most of the places we stop will be similar to that. The history with all the chateaus and the fortresses, every place we go throughout this trip, you'll see so many places that are just amazing. And remember, France is the country of chateaus, so that's a special one. And again, if you've never been on a river cruise, you get usually about 8 different tours every stop, every port that you can pick from. And most will be either around history, scenery, culture, or wine, and wine fits into their culture, or a combination of any of those. And being at these places, I can help you, or most of our staff can help you with anything you need to know. I'll be a host on this one. It was supposed to go this year, and it was obviously postponed till next year. So we have the rates locked in. So our rates, again, will be better than, booking direct or booking with anybody else, because we've got the group space already blocked. Okay, next picture. Normandy. Yeah, it's just, there's a calm day in Normandy, and the day we were there at the American Cemetery, there was a mist over it. It was just fit perfectly in Erie, but the North Sea is on the English Canal is seldom calm like that. So, and you'll see all the beaches there, and it's just incredible. We will get to go to the American Cemetery too, which again is where you'll maybe seriously feel as patriotic as you've ever felt. Next picture, please. Okay, moving right on. Another trip, our African safari that we the Kansas City Zoo director, Randy Wistoff, and his wife, Barbara, have done safaris through our Comfort Tours division for, I think, 11 going on 12 years. They had this year's safari, and it was to Botswana that was postponed, and he was already planning on Zambia for 2021, as you see there. So we actually have 2 safaris going. We only have 1 slot left for 2 people on the Botswana safari, which is 10 days before this, so it'd be July 17th. I think 16th is when you'd leave the United States. And it's a little earlier than that because we have a Cape Town package with this that is just a world-class city. So there's 2 safaris that the zoo director, Randy Wistoff, and his wife, Barbara, are hosting. 1 to Botswana. It's primarily Botswana, although you get to go to Cape Town and Johannesburg and some other fabulous places. Victoria Falls is a must-see, and that'll be on both these trips. And then his second one, he said, well, I'm over there. I'll just go on the Zambia trip right after we go on the Botswana trip. And it's interesting. We've got, I think, 2 couples, if I remember right, going on both those safaris. So one to Botswana and one to Zambia. And going with Randy Wistoff is like nothing you will ever do. Randy does completely customized safaris. So you cannot find these safaris in any brochure with any big company. I have to go to customizing safaris to do what he wants, and then he knows these places to go, and he knows some of the tented camps that are as luxurious as any place you'll be. But most importantly, he knows all about the animals, and he knows the right time to go and where to see the most, and he talks to you about the difference in all the animals, and it's like an experience. And by the way, if you do this, of all my 150 great trips, my 4 safaris are probably my top 4 vacations that I've ever done as far as memories. They're seeing these wild animals in the wild there's just nothing like it. A zoo will never be the same to you after you go on an African safari. Okay, next picture. And the accommodations and food, you'll be amazed at how good those are. Now, Mimi and I have, it's so interesting. When we were on the Ama Magna on the Danube River a year ago, we kept hearing all about, from the crew, the wonderful countries in Southeast Europe, like Romania and Bulgaria. And we got talking to a bunch of people with Ama that had been there before, and we decided, you know what? Let's make another one of our royal family trips. We are doing, well, I'll stick with this, on a river cruise, September 19th through the 26th. And we're going to, again, we call it the Lower Danube or Southeast Europe. The places like those places, I've never heard of any of those outside of Budapest and Rus. And we will go to Transylvania when we're done for 4 nights. And apparently the Romanian mountains and Transylvania is right in the middle of the Romanian mountains, are absolutely breathtaking, beautiful. So we are going to do that. That's just spectacular. There's a great map. Serbia, Croatia are the other 2 countries that we're involved in. You know, this is so funny. I've heard so much about Serbia. I've heard so much about Romania and Bulgaria. I know about Croatia and Hungary, but you know what? It's time to experience, and that's a great time to go to that part of the world too. So that one is our royal family. That means simply Mama Mimi will be going with me to places like Pécs, Hungary, that I've never heard anything about. You've probably never heard anything about. Maybe you have, but we're going to learn and see it together, and this is the kind of memories that last a lifetime. Look at this. I just love that picture. I think that's so doggone cool. You know, the coat of arms is something that's big everywhere you go in Europe, and but I can't even pronounce it, the city we're going to, but we'll learn how to pronounce it together, okay? Next picture, please. Vidin, Bulgaria. Again, all of these places, normally, I have found this to be true, normally places that I don't know anything about are the places that stick with me longest, simply because my expectations were so exceeded. And a couple of the stops in Bulgaria, I think, will be absolutely special to all of us. Okay, next picture. Gosh, I'm ready to go traveling again, aren't you? This is driving me nuts. I guess I've got travel in my blood. I'm ready to go. But again, I got to tell you, it's so great memories. Now, I don't know about you guys. I've looked at a whole lot of our pictures and videos from the past and kind of gotten us through all this. The Iron Gates, again, I've heard so much about this, and I really don't know a lot about it. I'm guessing it's probably where communism started or ended, depending on which side you're on here. But I think we're going to learn so much about that culture and about the history in that part of the world. Some of it pretty new history, by the way. And you know what? If you've never been on a river cruise, especially, well, all the cruise lines, Ama and Avalon, all of them, they use a lot of the Southeastern European crew. And they are so incredibly attentive, so incredibly intelligent. And the reason for it is that's a war-torn area down in that part of the world if you've followed that over the years. And so it's very, very hard to find a good job. So these are people normally with families at home that are working on these river cruise ships and saving money and sending it home to support family. And they're just so fabulous. They're so, again, professional type people, intelligent and attentive and hardworking like you can't believe. Okay, next picture. Yeah, I love the picture of the river cruise ship in front of some of the places. We'll leave out of Budapest. And those of you that have never been to Budapest, those of you that have, I bet you're smiling right now because you know what I'm going to say. Seeing the Parliament building and everything, especially at night, is just one of the most incredible memories that you'll have. And again, remember, there's 150, 160 people maximum, and there's a very good possibility that by design, these river cruise lines will be holding less than maximum capacity people when they travel. So you'll love it. And again, this experience is almost completely all inclusive. There's some things that are not, and we'll go over those with you. Okay, next picture. Oh, this is a brand new ship. I forgot to tell you that, the Amabella. That part I think everybody will like. New almost always is better.
It's stuck on me. Oh, there it goes.
There we go. It's hot outside. That's it sticking. And I think one of the last ones that we will be doing in the year of 2021 is the Rhone River. Now, where's the Rhone River? A lot of people don't even know where the Rhone River is. Believe it or not, this is Mimi's favorite, my wife's favorite river, and all the river cruises we've done. She loves the Rhone River. It's in southern France, south of Paris. Actually, it starts in Lyon, France, and the southern part of France. Gosh, it's beautiful with Avignon and Arles and places like that. And this will be hosted by Deb Mitchell and Cassie Johnson, two of our very best and very senior travel counselors for us. But you'll just love this area. And then we can do a lot of pre-packages or post-packages. Most people will fly into Paris. You can fly into Lyon. A lot of people like to fly into Paris and start their vacation in the city of love and lights and all that fun stuff. So and the places you go to, again, you might not have heard of any of these, but they're all special places. Avignon, I don't know if you know this, many of you may or may not, but that was the home to the popes for 200 years. So there is a Vatican, what would you call it? A Vatican North in Avignon, France. And when you see that area, you'll understand why. And of course, have you heard of Chateauneuf de Pape, the wines of the popes? Those wineries are in that area too. And going down to Arles, again, Arles is one of Mimi's favorite cities she's ever been in anywhere in the world. It's in the Provence region, as you see there. Very, very special. It's got one of the biggest Roman Colosseums. It's second only to the Colosseum in Rome. And it ends up in Port St. Louis, as you see there. This is not St. Louis, Missouri, by the way. Okay, this is Port St. Louis in France. And then we can take you anywhere you want to go. You can go west to Barcelona. We can take you over to Monaco and Nice, places like that. There's Lyon. I don't know if you know this or not, but Lyon is the culinary capital of France. So it's the very beginning of the cruise. So I doubt it. If you want to come in and spend a night in Lyon, is kind of where I'm going with this. You're welcome to do that, or even two. And one of the things you want to do is go to some of their outstanding restaurants. They're just world class there. Okay, there's Viviers. I love this little picture because it shows such a, over the centuries, they used every inch of space they could in popular places, and the rivers go right by them. You've heard the river cruise adage that rivers go through countries, where the ocean cruises take you to countries, one country to the next. I think that's really well said. It's neat going through the heart of a country and seeing the life, blood, and the culture and the unique things in that part of the world that are so beautiful. There's a picture of Avignon, and you can see the Roman aqueducts and things like that are built. But wait till you see the Vatican set up there in Avignon. It's spectacular. Okay, we're just about done. There we go in Arles. That's one of the famous matadors over the years. So they used the Coliseum there in Arles to have bullfights there for centuries, is what I heard. And they still use it for concerts today. So kind of fascinating. And you have to understand that the Roman army went up through the waterways into, from Italy into France and Spain and what's now Germany and all these areas. And that's they conquered all that areas, and they went right through this part of the world. And they were the ones that built the aqueducts and planted the vines for wine. And it's just very, very special place. I think this will be if you've not ever done the Rhone River, you need to, like Duro, I would say absolutely put it on your list. So many people don't know anything about it. Okay, Nicole, next. Hang in there with me. I know it's 7. We're just about done. Oh, we are done. So hope you can join us. Again, like I say, our goal is to help create memories that last a lifetime, get you a great value on a vacation, and hopefully we'll help you meet some people that will become very good friends when you get back. That has happened so often. I communicate with so many people. It's so nice to slow down in life, which I don't do often enough, but on these trips I do, and get to know your story, get to know more about you and your family, and we share these memories together, and there's a bond that just clicks through that. It's been one of the highlights of my career, taking people all over the world, and I just love it. I don't know if you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. The lady third in front to the left. She and her husband, the bald gentleman immediately to her right, they went on this cruise celebrating their 60th wedding anniversary. See, you never get old when you travel. Well, again, we've been through a challenging time these last many months. It seems like forever. It's been, I guess, 4.5 months. I do believe things are going to get better. All of these cruise lines, the safari vendors, everybody have programs that give you reassurance that you will be taken care of if things go, if it's not safe to travel. And the one thing we've learned through all this, and I'm very, very proud of this, is that these vendors that Mimi and I deal with, the vendors that we say are good enough for us to take you on with us, they're doing the right thing right now. They're taking care of customers, honestly, better than I would have predicted they would have. And they will continue to do that. So if it's not safe to go, they won't go. If it is safe to go, they will go. And then if something were to happen during travel, they've got ways to take care of you. And we are there as your host to help take care of that situation. So I don't know about you, I really am ready. Honest to goodness, I'm ready. I'm praying that October 1st through the 8th Bordeaux trip goes. They're telling me, Amos telling me it probably will go if France will allow us Americans to go in there. I think if we tell them that most of the ship is from the Midwest, they'd probably accept that quicker. Well, anyway, I want to say thanks so much for all of you. You have built our business, and we appreciate that more than we can tell you. Mimi and I do. Your business with us has never been more important, obviously, to us and our staff. Mimi and I have kept all but 2 of our employees, and we're very, very proud of that. And we're financially strong enough to get through this mess, and we will. And we will also look forward to earning your business in the future. I think I got to tell you, I've had so many calls and emails from people that haven't done business with us. They booked direct or they booked with Expedia or somebody that say they're done doing that and it's time to get the customer service that we offer. And they almost always say, and I've heard such good things about you and your company, and that makes me and made me feel so good. So, hey, thanks so much. I know I've taken a little bit more of your time than normal. I appreciate you. I hope you all will go with us on a hosted trip. And if a group trip like this is not you, but you want to go to some of the places that you've seen, give us a call immediately or email us. If you want more information, of course, go to our website, cruiseholidayskc.com, and go to the group page. There's our phone number that's easy to remember, the 505-1500, and we'll have somebody get back to you tomorrow with pricing or more detailed information. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I can't tell you how much your business is, how important it is to us, and how much we appreciate it. We're getting ready to get going. We're back in the office again, and we're not seeing people till August face to face, which bothers me, but it's the right thing to do. And we want to be safe. We want to keep you safe, that sort of thing. Thank you, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Hope you can join us and make some memories that last a lifetime. Adios.